11 minutes ago, Congressman Chip Roy stood up in the United States House of Representatives, and what he did next is about to detonate across every news outlet, every social media platform, every dinner table in America. This wasn't a typical congressional speech. This was a reckoning. A 5 alarm fire. A moment where the gloves came off. The names were named and the victims, the forgotten Americans, were finally given a voice. And the Democrats in that room? They didn't see it coming. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, because what you're about to witness is not just a hearing. It's a political earthquake. Let me set the scene for you. I've covered over 300 congressional hearings in my career. I've seen shouting matches, walkouts, gavel slams, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for this. The chamber was packed. Standing room only. Staffers lined the walls. The air was thick, tense, electric. You could feel it. The kind of energy that tells you something big is about to break. Chip Roy, Republican from Texas, takes his seat. He's got a stack of documents in front of him. Thick, heavy, the kind of stack that means someone did their homework. Across the aisle, Democratic members are chatting, relaxed, maybe even dismissive. They have no idea what's coming. Roy adjusts his microphone. He doesn't look nervous. He looks furious. "Mr. Chairman," he begins, his voice steady but sharp. "We're here today to discuss the deployment of the National Guard to Washington, D.C., to talk about security in our nation's capital." Standard opening. Committee business. But then, he pauses. A deliberate, pregnant pause. His eyes scan the room. He's about to pivot. And everyone who knows Roy knows. When he pivots, someone's about to get torched. But before we do that, he continues, his voice rising, "I need to address something that has been festering in this body for years. Something that Democrats in this chamber, senators, governors, representatives, have been saying about the men and women of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement." The room shifts. A few Democrats lean forward. Others glance at each other. What's he doing? Roy doesn't wait for permission. He starts reading. Names, quotes, dates, one after another, like a prosecutor laying out an indictment. ICE is a threat to the public. That's what Senator Kamala Harris said. ICE agents are a modern-day Gestapo. That's what Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal called them. Abolish ICE, dismantle ICE. ICE is comparable to Nazi Germany. He's not paraphrasing. He's quoting them directly, word for word. The Democrats in the room? Stone-faced. Some are furiously scribbling notes. Others are staring at their phones. One or two are shaking their heads, trying to signal disapproval. But Roy doesn't stop. He's got pages of this. 3 full minutes of documented, public statements from Democratic leaders comparing American law enforcement officers to secret police, to fascists, to Nazis. The C-SPAN cameras zoom in. You can see the tension in the faces. Some Republicans are nodding. Some Democrats look angry. One staffer near the back is whispering into someone's ear. This is not normal committee decorum. This is a showdown. If you're watching this right now, smash the like button. The algorithm suppresses videos like this, videos that expose the truth, that hold politicians accountable. Your like tells YouTube this matters. Do it now. Roy slaps the papers down on the desk. The sound echoes. He leans into the microphone. So let me ask the question that every American is asking right now. Whose side are you on? Dead silence. Are you on the side of ICE agents, men and women who risk their lives every single day to remove dangerous criminals from our streets? Or are you on the side of the criminals themselves? And then he pulls out another stack. This one is different. Thicker. Stapled. Highlighted in yellow. You can see it from the gallery. These aren't talking points. These are case files. "Let me tell you about 5 Americans," Roy says, his voice dropping, almost a whisper. The room leans in. 5 Americans who should be alive today. 5 Americans who were killed, murdered, by illegal aliens. Illegal aliens who were released into this country under the policies that this administration and members of this committee have defended. He starts with the names. Slowly. Deliberately. Each one a hammer blow. Kayla Hamilton. 13 years old. Strangled to death by an MS-13 gang member who crossed the border illegally. A photograph flashes on the screen behind him. A young girl. Smiling. School photo. The room goes quiet. Sergeant Brandon Mendoza. Killed by a drunk driver. An illegal alien with a criminal record, who had been deported twice before. Another photo. A man in uniform. American flag in the background. Laken Hope Riley, 22 years old. Nursing student. Murdered while jogging. The suspect, an illegal alien who had been arrested before and released. Click. Another face. Another life. Rachel Morin, 37. Mother of 5. Killed in a car crash caused by an illegal alien fleeing police. Click. Jocelyn Nungare, 12 years old. Strangled. Dumped in a creek. 2 illegal aliens arrested. Both had crossed the border in the last year. Click. The photos stay on the screen. 5 faces. 5 names. 5 Americans who will never come home. Roy's voice cracks, just slightly. These are not statistics. These are not talking points. These are victims. And they are victims of failed policies that this side of the aisle. He points directly at the Democrats. Continues to defend. One Democratic member tries to interrupt. Mr. Chairman, I object to the characterization. Roy doesn't let him finish. You object? You object? Tell that to their families. Tell Kayla Hamilton's mother that you object. Tell Laken Riley's parents that you object. The gavel slams. The chairman tries to restore order. But Roy isn't done. And those 5, he says, his voice rising again, are just the tip of the iceberg. Because I see the same I see that Democrats have called Nazis, that they've called secret police, just arrested 18 illegal aliens in Minnesota alone. 18. In one sweep. Let me tell you who they are. He pulls out yet another document. This one is a list. Typed single-spaced names, crimes, prior deportations. He starts reading. Homicide, rape, sexual assault, aggravated assault. Child abuse, domestic violence, drug trafficking. Each crime gets a pause. Each pause lands like a punch. These aren't people who overstayed a visa. These aren't people looking for a better life. These are predators. And ICE officers, risking their own lives, went door to door, tracked them down, and removed them from American communities. He looks up from the paper. And yet members of this committee, members of this Congress, have called those ICE officers Nazis, have called them Gestapo, have called for the agency to be abolished. A few Democrats are whispering now. One is visibly shaking her head. Another has his arms crossed, jaw clenched. The body language says it all. They did not expect this. They did not expect to be put on trial. Drop a comment right now. Who do you think is really responsible for these deaths? Who's protecting criminals over citizens? Let me know below. And share this video. Send it to everyone you know. The pressure must continue. Roy isn't finished. He pivots again. Now he's talking about other cases. Nationwide. He rattles off states. Texas, California, New York, Florida. In each one, an illegal alien with a violent criminal record. In each one, ICE made the arrest, despite local sanctuary policies, despite political opposition, despite being called fascists. Sexual abuse of a minor in Texas. Assault on a federal officer in California. Harboring a fugitive in New York. Supporting a terrorist organization in Florida. The list keeps going. The crimes stack up. The room is pin-drop silent except for Roy's voice. And every single one of these arrests, Democrats fought them. Governors issued executive orders to limit cooperation with ICE. Mayors declared their cities sanctuaries. Senators held hearings to grill ICE directors. He slams the document down again. So I'll ask again, whose side are you on? Representative Scott Perry, Republican from Pennsylvania, jumps in. He's not scheduled to speak, but he can't stay silent. Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is exactly the point. The American people are watching this. They see what's happening. They see their neighbors, their friends, and their family members being victimized. And they see one side of this, all defending the criminals and attacking the cops. Perry's voice is shaking with anger. Where is the outrage? Where are the speeches defending Kayla Hamilton? Where are the press conferences for Laken Riley? Where are the tears for Jocelyn Nungare? Silence. There are none. Because to this side, he gestures to the Democrats. Those victims don't matter. They don't fit the narrative. They don't poll well. So they're ignored. The chairman tries to move on. He bangs the gavel. The gentleman's time has expired. But Roy isn't done. He's got one more card to play. Mr. Chairman, before we move on, I'd like to enter into the record the full list of the 18 arrests in Minnesota, along with the prior deportation orders, the criminal histories, and the ICE case files, without objection. The documents are submitted. The clerk takes them. They're now part of the official congressional record. Permanent, undeniable, documented. Roy leans back. He's made his point. The Democrats are furious, but they're also cornered. Because everything he just said, it's on the record. It's on video. It's trending on X, on YouTube, on every conservative outlet in the country. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Click that button. Turn on notifications. Because this story is far from over. The fallout from this hearing is going to dominate the news cycle for days. And I'm going to break it all down for you. Now, let's talk about what happens next. Because Roy and Perry didn't just give speeches. They laid the groundwork for something bigger. They're pushing two major pieces of legislation. H.R. 2, which would codify strict border security measures, and the SAVE Act, which would ensure only American citizens can vote in federal elections. Both bills are stalled. Democrats oppose them. But after today's hearing, the pressure just went nuclear. Clips of Roy reading those victim names are going viral. Parents of the victims are tweeting, giving interviews, demanding action. Swing district Democrats are feeling the heat. And here's the kicker. Roy hinted at a third bill. He called it the PUS Act, a complete, temporary halt to immigration while the system is overhauled. It's radical. It's controversial. And after today, it's got momentum. Let me tell you what's happening behind the scenes right now. I've got sources on the Hill. Staffers are saying Democratic leadership is in full crisis mode. They didn't expect Roy to bring receipts. They didn't expect him to name victims. They didn't expect the emotional punch of those photos. One aide told me off the record, "We got ambushed. We thought this was going to be a routine National Guard hearing. Instead, we got put on trial for ICE." Another source, Republican side, said, "This changes the conversation. We're not playing defense anymore. We're on offense." Translation? The GOP smells blood in the water. They're going to hammer this message all the way to the midterms. And the Democrats? They're scrambling to figure out how to respond without looking heartless. Comment below. Do you think Congress will finally pass real border security? Or is this just political theater? I want to hear from you. Here's what makes this so explosive. Roy didn't just criticize policy. He made it personal. He put faces to the debate. Kayla, Brandon, Laken, Rachel, Jocelyn, those aren't abstractions. They're real people, real families, real grief. And when Perry asked, "Whose side are you on?" that wasn't rhetorical. That was a challenge, a line in the sand. You're either with the victims or you're with the criminals. There's no middle ground. The Democrats in that room? They couldn't answer. Because any answer makes them look bad. If they defend their ICE criticism, they look like they're siding with murderers. If they back down, they look weak, hypocritical. Roy boxed them in. Masterfully. And let's talk about the broader implications. Roy mentioned hospitals, jails, schools, all overwhelmed by illegal immigration. He cited costs. He cited statistics. He painted a picture of a system on the verge of collapse. But here's the genius. He didn't lead with that. He led with the victims. Because data doesn't move people. Stories do. Faces do. Names do. Once he had the room's attention, once he had your attention, then he brought the policy hammer. H.R. 2. The SAVE Act. The PUS Act. Now those aren't just bills. They're justice for Kayla, for Laken, for Jocelyn. That's how you win a political argument. You make it about people, not numbers. Share this video. Seriously. Send it to your family, your friends, your coworkers. The mainstream media isn't going to cover this the way it deserves. They'll bury it, spin it, or ignore it. But you can make sure this gets seen. You can make sure those names are remembered. Let me end with this. Chip Roy said something in that hearing that's going to echo for a long time. He said, "This is no longer theory. This is no longer speculation. This is documented fact." And he's right. The crimes are real. The victims are real. The failure is real. And now, thanks to today's hearing, it's all on the record. The Democrats called ICE Nazis. Roy called them heroes. The American people are going to decide who's right. And based on the reaction I'm seeing, based on the fury, the grief, the demand for accountability, I think we already know the answer. This is not just a hearing. This is a turning point. This is the moment where the narrative flipped, where the victims got their voice, where the truth became undeniable. America is watching. Washington is shaking. And the fight for the border, for the rule of law, for the safety of American citizens, it just went to a whole new level. Subscribe, like, comment, share, and stay tuned because this story is just getting started. I'll see you in the next one. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.